Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome to Scrapbook.com's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some Christmas in July projects, showing you some fun ways to use gold on your holiday cards. So first, let me show you the products I'm going to use to make these cards. I'm going to use the gold pops of color. This stuff is just yummy. I'm in love with it. I'll be using some smooth cardstock. Now this is the Warms pack, which might not seem like something you would immediately be drawn to for Christmas, but I'm going to show you some hidden gems in there. And this is the brand new Slimline Snowflake stamp set, a Slimline Snowflake stamp I'm so excited about. And then this Together for Christmas printed vellum I didn't actually end up using, but I do use that metallic gold pad, as well as this Snowflakes stencil. So a lot of fun things here I'm very excited about, and trying to incorporate gold into some Christmas cards in a little kind of non-traditional way. So first I'm going to start with a panel that is about 8.5 by 3.5, and I'm going to just blend on some ink. Now this is a reddish color that I found matched one of the colors in that warm paper pad really well. So I just did an ombre ink blending on there, so it's darker at the bottom and lighter at the top, where it goes all the way to red. So this stamp is 8.5 by 3.5, so that means my panel is a little bit smaller than that. I like to have a border around my card fronts, so I did trim it down. And now I'm going to ink the Snowflake Slimline stamp up with that gold metallic ink and stamp it right over the top of the ink blending. And it's going to give it this subtle yet metallic shimmery background over the top that is just gorgeous. I am going to go ahead and ink that up 2 times to really intensify the color and have those snowflakes pop. And it's one of those that has more of a shimmery look when you turn it in the light. I love that. That to me is such a Christmassy feel to a card. Okay, so then to finish off that card, I stamped the Ho 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 image that comes with that Slimline stamp in gold embossing powder and popped it up, and there is that red paper. It's kind of a pinkish red that I used from the Warm pack, put it behind my sentiment, and I added some pops of color around there for an accent. Well, it just so happens that I accidentally set a plastic bag on top of them, and so they got smashed. So I thought I would just take this moment to add a little bit more and show you how that works, and we'll let those dry and fix that right up. I also added a border of gold around my card front to really bring home that gold look on this card. So we've got gold paper, gold stamping, gold embossing, and gold accents. So pretty. Okay, let's move on to the second card. I'm going to take this same Slimline Snowflake stamp. I'm inking it up with some clear pigment ink really well, and I'm going to stamp that onto a Slimline panel that I will end up trimming down a little bit. I am going to really press that down because I only had one opportunity to stamp it, because pigment ink, clear pigment ink, it can be very sticky, and so can a clear stamp. So I wanted to make sure I stamped it really well the first time. I am sprinkling on some clear embossing powder, and that powder is going to stick right to that stamped image. And then I can bring out my heat gun and melt all that powder, and I'm going to have clear snowflakes on my white background. So we're going to do a bit of a resist using that pops of color in gold. Look how pretty that is. And I'm using one of the domed ink blending tools from Scrapbook.com to apply this. So I'm just going to rub it on. I wasn't sure how it would go, but it was so much fun to do. Kind of a little bit like rubbing icing on something. It was so fun, and you can see that those snowflakes are starting to pop out, and that gold is sticking to where the snowflakes aren't, right to the paper. So I thought this was a really fun technique to do, and I love how it turned out. In some areas the gold can be a little bit darker, and in some a little bit lighter, and I have to say I love that look. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim this down using the nesting rounded rectangle slimline die set. I love this die set because there's so many rectangles in it and it makes the perfect size rounded corner. It's not super rounded, it's a little bit more subtle. I think it's really classy. Now, taping that in place, I noticed when I removed the tape that it was taking some of that pops of color that had stuck to the embossing. And I thought that was fabulous. But then I thought, well, I could probably just rub it off with a paper towel and it would come off that way as well. So I went ahead and gave that a try, but it did not do the same thing. So I just brought back in my low-tack tape and I was able to use the same piece repeatedly. And you can see there how nicely the snowflakes pop. So there's a little tip for you. And next I am bringing in this wonderful alphabet die set. This is the classic type, and there are uppercase and lowercase letters from this die set. So I am using all uppercase to do the word Merry from black cardstock, and then I'm bringing in this Merry Christmas from a Lawn Fawn stamp set and stamping and inking just the word Christmas. And then I can have my bold type letters to say Merry and then scripty to say Christmas. I love gold and black for Christmas time. It has such a classy, elegant feel to it. So there you can see the finished card. I added some black rhinestones and put that onto a black mat before it went on my 8.5 by 7.5 inch panel. There it is. Okay, let's do one more card today with another technique using this gold pops of color. So I have a little spray bottle, a little mister bottle that has water in it, and I went ahead and put in a few drops or squeezes of the pops of color, and I really shook that up and got it mixed in really well. Next, I'm going to bring in that Snowflakes stencil and tape that to a piece of white cardstock. And then I have a nice surface ready to go that I can now spray with this homemade spray. And it is just nice to have that metallic fun spray on hand, and I didn't have to go buy something. I could use what I already had. I thought I would pick up the excess color from the stencil, and it wasn't quite pretty, but I think I could still probably make something from it. But here's the background I am going to use. Now, one of those snowflakes, the big open one, it did get a little bit too much spray on it, but I'm going to go ahead and use this panel. I like it sometimes when things aren't exactly perfect. They're a little bit messy, a little distressed looking. And now I'm going to stamp over the top of that with that same Snowflake Slimline stamp using some navy or dark blue ink. I love the gold and navy for the holidays, especially if you have people in your life who celebrate Hanukkah and you want to make them a personalized card. So that's what I'm going to do. I also decided to try splattering on this spray using the little nozzle, and that worked pretty good, but it did actually make some of the blue ink bleed out a little bit. So you might want to do the splattering before you do the blue stamping and really let it dry. So I cut that out with the same rectangle die, and then I found that the lightest color of yellow cardstock in this, I think it's the second to the lightest actually, this paper looks gold. It really has a gold tint to it. So I decided I would use that for the backing of this card front panel. Now I am taking some letters and gonna die cut out the word happy for my Happy Hanukkah card using that same classic type alphabet. So now when I glue my panel onto the front of that, I just wanna make sure I only put glue around the edges and not where it's going to overlap the word happy, or where I die cut out those letters for the word happy. I'm taking that same Lawn Fawn stamp set and stamping the word Hanukkah only and embossing that with gold powder as well. So that's going to be another fun mix of fonts on my card, and I love that look. So I'll glue down this strip. I decided to leave this one really long and have it go all the way across my stamped panel. And then I can glue on those letters right above using the edge of that cardstock to line up my letters so they are straight. And I'll add that to a slimline card base as well, finishing up my 3 cards using gold in 3 different ways. And I had so much fun playing and making these backgrounds. Making backgrounds is one of my favorite things, and I think doing these cards that were fairly simple but with so many fun gold accents make for some really special holiday cards. And I'm really happy to get them done in July, so when the busyness of December rolls around, I can be baking and wrapping and all of those fun things, and my cards will be ready to go. I thank you so much for stopping by and letting me share my creations with you. The supplies I used are listed and linked for you below, and you can find lots more inspiration on the Scrapbook.com YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram as well. We'll see you all again very soon. Happy stamping! Bye!